So it's 9:15, and we know what that means on a Walpass Wednesday, a Walpassian Wednesday. It means one thing: we get to find out what's in the man's mug and see if he is straight up PIMP in his own mug. I know he's PIMP in his lid because he's wearing it. So are you pimping the mug too, Tyler?
Not the mug today. It's just me, Mando, and Baby Yoda this morning.
Okay. All right. I'm down with folks' appreciations for those kinds of things. I am not a person of that universe, but I do appreciate folks that dive into these kinds of things, and they are full bore and hell on wheels when it comes to seeing. See, now I couldn't even keep track of the timelines and the family tree and what matters and who's aiming in what direction. See, that's the big thing for me. It's like I couldn't even keep track of, Anakin. Where is he over here? Is he over here? Who it has turned into like days of our Tatooine,
Yeah, look, I am obsessed and have been. Yes,
Well, but
Alex,
people are, and
Grogu is his own person,
I get that.
as is Din Djarin. But I just knowing John and knowing how out of tune with the universe. No,
Yeah,
I don't want to be like Grogu, and he's gonna be like, "What?"
Yeah, basically, yes. Isn't Grogu like the little mini Yoda?
Yeah, that's Baby Yoda.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, look, I get it. I know that folks are just, that's their thing. And it's like, when's the next episode coming out? I get that. No, but yeah, if you were to ask me about any of the main characters, short of like Boba Fett and maybe Grogu, and is the shame nun? Is she banging the gong or anything like that? I mean, that's.
Are you into the Marvel universe at all?
No, I am not.
Okay, well then, I'll skip what I was about to say.
Well, why?
No. I was gonna say because the Marvel universe is so well written in terms of like everything tying together in some way, shape, or form, right?
Thank you.
You'll have Easter eggs in different movies and shows and cameos. They've started over the past few years doing that with Star Wars as well, and
okay.
I'm one of those that I just enjoy it all, even if the show is bad because it's Star Wars. I'll watch it.
Even if the writing sucks, I'm gonna.
Yeah, but you've got some genuinely good shows, like for people that don't care about Star Wars. There's some really good ones out there. Mandalorian being one of them.
Okay, so that's the 1980s car with the gull wing doors, Back to the Future, right?
Yes.
Mandalorian. Yeah. Okay, just checking. Tyler's with us here on a Wednesday, and so traditionally, like I said, it's Walpass Wednesday. So basically, it's whatever's on all of our collective minds. And I know that we can advance reporting when it comes to Atlanta United, but let's go back to the match in and of itself and look at what went down with it. We had Bart on Monday to discuss reffing down here, and the move. I guess we'll work backwards with it. So. Right. You end up with a move that would make Australian rules football fans proud, and going over the top of Pedro Amador late, and it creates a goal situation that's your equalizer at 2-2. Bart didn't think that there was a foul there. Obviously, I did, considering that, I don't know, you're climbing over somebody and you end up squashing them in the buildup of the play. Jason on the broadcast thought there was, from the angles that you've been able to watch in real time and then taking a couple of days. What did you think about the equalizer for Red Bulls going up against the twos against Atlanta United 2 that tied it at 2? Atlanta United that tied it at 2.
To me, it's a foul, but I also have seen it be called either way. Mm-hmm. Either way, I think the biggest thing to me that points to it being a foul is you can't use somebody's shoulders as a step stool, like at all. I know we see it all the time. There's the jostling and kind of vying for position and, trying to jump and get a little bit of leverage. And it does happen often, right? Like somebody's going to use somebody else to get that extra little bit of up. But he looked like the 5-year-old that's trying to like climb out of the pool, right? Like off the side without using the ladder. using Pedro Amador's shoulders as the edge of the pool or trying to climb up on the kitchen counter. Like, you can't do that. And yeah, to me, it was a foul. But again, it's not one I lost sleep over because, I mean, I've seen it go either way. We all have, right? We've seen it happen either way. I really think it should have been checked more than it was, but I don't know. It just seems part of the curse. It's part of the curse. Like, just the team has this almost supernatural way of giving up a lead, a very important lead, shortly after they get it, and it's like a cosmic joke at this point. But yeah, I mean, I think it was a foul. To answer the question simply, yeah, it was a foul. But what I think doesn't matter as much.
Yeah, I mean, Pedro Amador being used as a Warner ladder, like they would see at the Final Four, and the coach and the players going to cut the parts of the net after you win a championship. So,
Yep.
So it ends up being 2-2, and then Edwin Mosquera, who comes in, and I know a lot of folks were sitting there going, why are you bringing in, Edwin at that point of the match? And traditionally for me, when I see Edwin coming in late in a match, whenever that is, I don't care if it's the 60th, the 70th, or 112th, Edwin's in there to run people into the ground. And you got instant results from Just Add Water. It's Edwin Mosquera in your Scarves and Spikes mug. Just add water, and you get the results that you hope for occasionally.
Yeah. He came in, and yeah, I agree with you. I think he's one of those that you want him to just go at tired legs, period. He's going to be vertical. He might cough up possession occasionally, but he's going to he's going to go towards the end line and towards goal. And he's tried that similar kind of sequence and that shot in the past, and he hasn't been as clean with it. But when I saw him kind of cut to his right foot, I thought, just take the shot, and then he did. And to be fair, like, when that came off his foot, I thought, no, it's going wide. And it didn't. It was a perfect shot. I mean, what was it like? I don't even know. Just over a minute after he came onto the pitch.
Yeah.
I mean, good for him. Good for him, And I literally, it was funny because I tweeted it out moments before. I said, man, it would be so nice if the offense would just give Brad something, because he saved them again. And he deserves to win this game. He deserves to get something back for keeping his team in the game, because it wasn't just the penalty. It was a lot, right? And then Edwin Mosquera comes on and does that. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. But since we're going backwards in the timeline, we already know what happens next.
Right. Yeah.
But no, I mean, good for him. He's I think he needs that for his confidence. He's kind of been so up and down with, he had the injury earlier this season. There was just, he's had so many things. Being a sub can be difficult because it's hard to find a rhythm.
Yeah. You
come on and you do something like that. And it was, it was a banger of a goal, and I'm happy for him.
Banger. Then obviously discounting the Red Bulls' first goal, you end up with, and I guess the next topic in general is the continued integration of Alexei Miranchuk into the offense and how he's becoming more and more comfortable. Saw it at Mercedes-Benz with the late effort, and he's the one who is wanting to bring in all of his teammates at Mercedes-Benz after the goal is scored. He's the guy who's sitting there saying, okay, guys, let's get into a huddle and let's all celebrate together. And then he's the one, after the goal is scored and you've celebrated together, he's the one motioning everybody back to the line late to try to get everything done back at Mercedes-Benz. But you just continue to see with what happened at Red Bulls, how Alexei Miranchuk is continuing to integrate, make himself feel at home, be a part of that offense, and show that imagination that we saw in the YouTube videos. And it's like, yeah, huddle and Alexei Miranchuk. You go huddle, but yeah, the YouTube videos, the greatest hits. You got to see that, and you get to see it once again with another match under his belt at Red Bull.
Yeah, I mean, I think the goal at the Benz, especially considering it was a fully open Benz, and you had just the crowd was hyped up, and to talk about the crowd at that game for a minute, I was actually really impressed. Obviously, you're going to have a lot of people show up for Messi.
Never heard.
I know, right? Who's that guy?
Yeah, who?
It didn't feel like the majority of fans showed up to support Messi.
Yeah.
I think it felt almost just like, hey, this is possibly a once in a lifetime kind of opportunity. Let's go see the greatest player of all time, whether we're cheering for him or not. Like, you have to appreciate who he is. So he comes out obviously and does his little break dancing warm up thing, and everybody goes crazy. And it was funny to see. The Benz though was very much an Atlanta crowd, which I thought was great, and it felt good in that place. And when Miranchuk scored that goal, I think it kind of unlocked a little bit of the confidence that we've been wanting to see in the very short time that he's been here. And Rob kind of alluded to it after the goal. At the press conference, he said, now everybody has seen what this kid can do and what we see in practice all the time, and he's just continuing to integrate himself into the team. And it just feels like he can now say, all right, I've gotten in, I've gotten involved, I've earned the respect, I think, of the team, definitely the fans, and now it's time to take that next step. And when things aren't going our way and there isn't anybody on the field that's maybe stepping up as a leader or whatever, I want to bring this team, I don't want to say back to earth, but let's keep level headed and go and try to get the next one. And they did in the Miami game. They did. And then of course the Red Bulls game, it's a tough way to end it, but you fought, right? Like it wasn't like you just gave up. It was unfortunate the way that it ended, but you had a much better, I think, mindset going into the end of that match.
Yeah, and so obviously it ends up 2-2. You end up with all of the post week discussion after that, and so right now, once again, as chaos rules and continues in the Eastern Conference, and like I said, we talked about it with Atlanta United 2 before you came on, where the twos can be a spoiler for Union 2 on Sunday afternoon. Right now, at the standings in the East, Atlanta United is still a part of the group of chaos. I mean, now that it has shifted a little bit because of folks coming back to the mean, but you have 2, 4, 6 teams separated by that many points. And for those who only get to listen to us, I'm holding up 3 fingers. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, all separated by 3 points. Toronto with 11 wins, Philadelphia with 9. Montreal with 34 points. They're below the playoff bar, 30 matches played. Then you end up with Atlanta and Nashville, same record, but Atlanta with a far better goal difference. And then D.C., who got absolutely thumped, boat raced, taken out to the woodshed with the whooping stick, however you want to phrase it, by Philly, who is doing this year's guest spot of Seattle, where it was usually Zombie Sounders and now it's Zombie Union, who now they're into the playoff discussion. So the chaos that we knew is there. That's just in a different form, and it's at the bottom for the folks wanting to get in the Eastern Conference. When you look at this chaos, what do you see?
I mean, to me, the thing that stands out, that's I think the frustrating aspect of it, is for Atlanta. If you were to go beat Philly this weekend, who has scored 9 goals in 2 games. You go beat Philly in Philly or Chester. You're still the best you could do this weekend if things go your way is 10th, and that's frustrating. Oh, and that's because of goal differential. Because you would essentially be tied with Philly in points, but those 9 goals in the past couple of games have really screwed with the goal differential. But I think, we've been saying it all season, it's a dogfight. Like it was mostly consistent closer to the top of the conference for most of the season, but you've had the handful that have pulled away from the crowd, and now it's just chaos in the bottom. And so, Nashville's doing their little thing of trying to creep up. The fact that you've got 3 teams literally at 33 points right now is crazy. It's anybody's game, really. I think that's all you can say about it. It really is anybody's game. It's going to come down to who wants it more. And, like we did MLS Monday this past Monday, obviously.
I was going to ask you about this, but yes.
Yeah. which was great, kind of talking over things. And you have some teams that have some very unfavorable final, 4 matches or so. You have Toronto, which, you have, pretty much everybody has a game in hand on them. But it's going to come down to ultimately who wants it more. Like Atlanta's got, an up and down kind of schedule. The Philly game is tough, but it's not a schedule you can't do something with, right? You're not going to play Columbus or Miami anymore. You're not going to play pretty much anybody at the top except for Orlando, if you want to consider them, the top, but they're kind of floundering a little bit. So yeah, it's just who wants it the most? Who wants it the most?
Tyler Pilgrim hanging out with us from Scarves and Spikes. And I was going to ask in general about how the Monday show went with all of the discussion that we're having. What was immediate reaction? Is it still people bang? Was it still people banging their heads against the side doors and the door frames and things like that, or what was it for fans Monday night? I mean, I know that what it was like for us on Monday morning. What was it like on Monday night? Had things evened out? Where was the keel when you guys came on Monday night?
Honestly, yeah, it evened out a little bit because I think if you were to go back and have this same situation last year, even, or a couple of years ago, you would have, I think, most fans a lot more frustrated because it's like, that's not what this team should do. But
Right.
Unfortunately, like Atlanta has demonstrated a lot over the past year and a little more, just this inability to hold leads. And so I think everybody thought, man, if you get that first ever win in Red Bull Arena, that would be a historic moment. And that's just like, kind of like the icing on the cake. But then it didn't go down that way, right? It ended up being a draw, and it kind of brought everybody back down to, dang, apathy again,
Well, and there is a difference between anger, frustration, and apathy.
Yes, there is.
And so is it on the Monday night side, was it apathy? Was it anger? Which element of the emotional scale was it?
I mean, obviously there's the anger and sadness emotions for
Mm-hmm.
sure. Are you drinking a 2-liter Mountain Dew?
Mm-hmm.
That's phenomenal.
I forgot my cup this morning.
That is awesome. Not to call you out, but that's impressive.
That's perfectly fine. No, it's I thought I had a cup down here, but I think last night when I was wrapping up everything, writing a column and getting everything ready for Tu's review, it's like I think I took all of the cups and put them in the dishwasher. So yeah, this is all I'm stuck with this morning.
I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew. I love it.
Hey man, I mean it's here, and honestly, to be perfectly honest, full disclosure, I could have this and fall straight to sleep. I drink this for the taste. I don't drink it for the
That's
caffeine.
why I'm with coffee. Like the caffeine in coffee doesn't do much for me other than make me feel good in the morning. But like, I could drink a cup at midnight and go to sleep.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, literally, it is straight out of the 2-liter this morning. It is straight.
I like it. That's impressive.
Straight up hardcore.
But yeah, I mean, so Monday night, by the time that we went live, it was, I think everybody had come back down to earth. Atlanta did a good job of doing that for them Saturday night, but it's definitely just more apathy in terms of like, it's the same crap, different day kind of feeling. And I hate that that's where the fan base is at.
Yeah,
I really do. Like it drives me up the wall, not for any other reason other than I love the team. Like I know we cover the team, but like I'm a fan, and to see the team just struggle this way, knowing good and well that it's just not clicking. It's not for lack of trying, even though, like I said last week, sometimes it might look that way. It's just not coming together into one cohesive unit, whatever that may be. And it's in like this result is kind of indicative of that. Like you go up and then some way, whether by fate or mistake or whatever, you just shoot yourself in the foot. And I think everybody's kind of response to it was, it's just the same stuff.
Tyler Pilgrim hanging out with us to break everything down with Atlanta United and the run-in and the matchup against Red Bulls from this past week. Yesterday, traditionally, this is always what happens. I forget, you got you and your mood lighting. You're kind of in sepia tone in the front of your set this morning.
I was going to ask, I got to change that. I got like kind of an orange thing going on.
Yeah. This segment shot in sepia tone.
There we go.
And it's a little less mood lighted. But as traditionally happens, considering we are a morning show and everybody decides they're just going to have their cup of coffee and wait to break news after we're off the air.
Yep.
Tommy Scoops over at Give Me Sport, not Give Me Sports. It is just a singular. So I'm guessing just one. So Give Me Sport. Hey, or maybe he's looking at the cousin off the other end of the table. Hey, Give Me Sport. Patrick Vieira is a finalist to be the next Atlanta United head coach. Sources tell, in all caps and italicized, Give Me Sport. Story continues. Vieira was most recently the manager of Ligue 1 Strasbourg. We know that Liam Rossignol is now the manager there, and he is the one who is counseling Caleb Wiley. Now, left after 1 year by mutual consent, 13th in the league in the lone season, briefly linked with the U.S. men's national team job that went to Pochettino. Doug McIntyre reported last month that those two sides had discussed things, and this was at the same time when Pochettino was that candidate for the USMNT. Going back to the article from McIntyre, literally it says, Patrick Vieira coached NYCFC from 16 to 18, has since, and this is after the discussions with the M&T and Matt Crocker, he has since spoken to Atlanta United about their vacancy per multiple sources. So it started off being in the wash with all of the USMNT talk. Is it Matarazzo? Is it Pochettino? Vieira was mentioned there. McIntyre drops in there a month ago, actually August 9th, that Vieira is a part of the discussion with Atlanta United. And now Tommy Scoops comes in from behind and reinforces that apparently there are discussions with Patrick Vieira, or there have been discussed with Patrick Vieira, D-U-S-C-U-S-S-E-D, not D-I-S-G-U-S-T. Vieira,
distinction.
Yes. Well, it's, hey, I was a spelling bee champ in elementary school. You see what that got me. Vieira is a finalist to be the Atlanta United head coach, according to Tommy Scoops. He refers to this as a pivotal transition this winter, considering the parting ways with Gonzalo Pineda and Carlos Bocanegra, adding Miranchuk, losing Almada. And so Tommy Scoops goes through all of the greatest hits and lays everything out. Atlanta still has 2 DP spots open they intend to fill this winter. Garth Lagerwey told Bogert a few months ago the club intends to reinvest all the funds raised back into the club. So you're staring at $35 million in the kitty after you take out your Miranchuk funds. Prior to his time at Strasbourg, he mentions Crystal Palace, Nice, and that's Nice, not nice. I don't know I don't know if Nice was nice or if it wasn't nice or not. Coaching career began at NYC, where he had a 2.5-year run there. So it is now looking as Patrick Vieira as a finalist, upgrading the story from Doug McIntyre. What have you heard with your ear to the train tracks? And has there been any thought pattern from any listeners on your side of things at SNS about Vieira being mentioned as a finalist?
I mean, as for what I've heard, that Patrick Vieira has kind of been the number one name that's popped up in any kind of Atlanta discussion. Of course, there's always the wish list, right? Like we've heard everybody on the wish list.
Pep Guardiola, yeah.
Pochettino was on my wish list, but he's coming to Atlanta in a different way.
Right.
But yeah, I think it's pretty clear. Even before this, he was mentioned, right? It was kind of going to be the standout guy. That's not to say that he's going to be the guy. I would like to know who the other finalists are.
Yeah.
Because if there's a finalist, then there has to be another finalist. Because if not, he would just have the job. So
or it would be just the finalist as opposed to a finalist.
Exactly.
Having to massage our articles here as we're looking at what's going down.
Yeah. So I would like to hear the other names, but I think Patrick. Okay. To answer the second part of the question, let me do that first. I've seen some people say, he hasn't had a great track record at the clubs that he's been at. I don't know that you can judge the man in any of the leagues that he's played in for anything higher than, you know, 4th place to 8th. Like you're playing in Europe, right? You're going to have 2 or 3, 4 teams that are consistently going to be at the top of every league in Europe. And I think he's done okay with what he's had. You look at the record that he's had in terms of like the actual numbers, you know, wins, draws, losses. I think that's where people have kind of a point of contention. But I think his play style, his managerial play style is kind of consistent with what the club wants.
Mm-hmm.
And his success, I think, is going to be very dependent on what all happens in this offseason and in the summer of next year, because you can't go and judge him, you know, on his entire job between February, if he gets the job, between February and the summer transfer window. So, I mean, I think he can be successful here. I really do. I think it's going to be very similar in terms of like what they want to do in possession, kind of playing out of the back, but being very forward focused. But he is, I think, much more of a disciplinarian in terms of, you know, that sounds really bad, but he's very disciplined.
He's very set in his ways with his expectation of a player and their duty.
Yes. Yeah, and he's going to hold players accountable. So disciplinary, maybe not the best word, but he's going to hold folks very, very accountable. And I think he's just going to be a little stricter, and kind of feels like that's what this team needs, right? A little bit of accountability in some places. And I wouldn't be mad at it. If he's the one, I wouldn't be mad at it. I do think, just throwing this out there, I do think there are, I think Atlanta has the ability to go after much bigger names. Don't ask me which one right now, because the one I wanted is already spoken for at this point. But he does have the MLS experience, which is great. And so that ticks the Lagerwey box. Mm-hmm. He has the international experience, which is great, because that ticks I think the fan box of wanting somebody that has outside perspective. So he kind of does have everything gift wrapped into, you know, one nice little package to come to Atlanta and bring a different voice, as Lagerwey has said, and a different viewpoint.
Which then, and this is the whole thing that we've been discussing here, where you have Garth, and this is Garth's, you know, this is Garth's baby, where he gets to bring in the technical director, general manager, chief soccer officer, all three, whatever combination the individual puts on the business card, and then that raises the cart before the horse stuff. If you bring in a coach, you've got to make sure that your triple threat title guy or gal meets the expectations and can work with whomever you wish to have as coach. Or do you bring in the triple threat individual and make sure that Garth and the triple threat can work with a coach? You see what I'm saying here? It's like, all right, so which one of those gets hired first? Is it the triple threat to work with Garth to get a coach, or is it the coach to work with Garth and find your triple threat person? You see where I'm trying to go here with all of this?
Yeah, this has been like the worst chicken and egg scenario I've ever heard of, because, you know, we've been talking about it with the designated players, the spots that you have open, and then the coach, and everybody, including me, was like, well, which one do you do first? Mm-hmm. You hire the player, or do you sign players, or do you get a new coach? And then all of a sudden, Bocanegra gets let go, and now it's like, now we don't even have anybody to put the chicken or the egg there. So,
you got the farm, and you have Mr. Purdue. I mean, you've got Mr. Purdue.
Yeah, yeah. You've got the guy up top, you know, doing everything. It's really tough. I think personally, Lagerwey has the business acumen and the know-how throughout the league to bring in a technical director at a later time, and that won't be as it won't have as negative of an effect as doing things kind of in the reverse order, because your manager is going to immediately influence this team.
Right.
Period.
Yes.
And I still think you want to bring in your new manager sooner than later, even if that just means as soon as you can at the end of the season. They have a full offseason to get integrated into Atlanta, just in general, get integrated into the club, and then start to meet some of the players. Now, some of the players might be on their way out, but then you'll have more coming in. And it's much better than hiring your manager, at the beginning of February or end of January and giving them essentially just the regular preseason to try to meet everybody, do all this stuff. It's a lot for a month. So I think I would rather see that. And then the technical director essentially is going to be more focused on player acquisitions and signings anyway, rather than anything to do with the head coach, because Lagerwey kind of has that, I think, under control. So if it were me, I would much rather see head coach, GM/technical director, whatever we're calling it nowadays,
Right.
and then move forward with your big signings.
So you are of the mindset that if you are Grand Exalted Poobah trying to bring in these two individuals in your front office, that if you go coach first, you're asking the coach, hey, coach, insert name here, can you work with this roster or these players and have decisions on these others and have a desired input on the kind of player that you want to bring into this situation, instead of, okay, give me a chief soccer officer and then the chief soccer officer / TD / GM and your president and CEO sit there and it's like, okay, let's find a guy that can work with this roster. We still have some decisions that could be made in public. So I'm just trying to check your Venn diagram, your flow chart here as to how you're
the variety of charts that I just threw out. Yeah. I mean, I think a coach should have a seat at the table with player signings. I'm not saying that they need to be the one, making the signings or saying, these are the 11 players that I have to have. Like, that's unrealistic. But I do think, Frank DeBoer shouldn't be getting Pity Martinez because that just wasn't the right fit. Great player, didn't fit the play style. And I think he needs to have some kind of a say. So if he's a stopgap solution for just a couple of months while the technical director spot is still looking to be filled, that's okay, because you have to remember, like, it's not like Carlos left and his entire scouting department and analytics department got fired too. Like, the guys are still there doing things. You just don't have the main guy at the top. So they can still go find talent. And if whoever the coach is says, yes, I like that guy, Lagerwey also isn't oblivious to the job. Like, he can go and say, like, all right, I've been around player acquisitions and I've been around technical directors and I've been around scouts. Like, I can make a signing, right? Like, I can determine whether or not it's the best fit for the team.
I'm not organizational chopped liver here, as Alex said.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Before, yeah.
So I just think the coach gives you a little bit of both. The coach will give you the ability to say, all right, that's a guy that, yes, I think he will fit into my system or what I'm trying to do. I would very much like for you to go after him or not. And whether it happens or not, that's going to be on Lagerwey and the scouting department and everything. But I just think that's the order and the addition to the Venn diagram that you have to have.
Venn diagram. Who knew we were going to have Trig down here this morning?
I know it.
As Tyler's hanging out with us. You look at, and Rich Ransom, our resident Philadelphia Union hometown fan, is in the timeline this morning. We've mentioned Zombie Union coming into this discussion now. They are the ones that are in the Eastern Conference taking over the Seattle role for the late push. When you've had the chance to do your quick study hall of Philadelphia, Philadelphia is a team that will drive anybody crazy. They will try and test limits, and then they will find the limit, and then they will have other individuals. They will have different individuals testing that limit all the way down the line. It's not going to be one dude who's going to sit there and mash the accelerator and break through the barricade, and then that's it. It's not like the car carrier in Smokey and the Bandit, where the roadblock is there and the car carrier just goes right through. It's not that, and then you have all of the Georgia state troopers at Lakewood Fairgrounds sitting there going, yeah, you got to move them cars, whatever, you got to move them cars. It's not that situation. It literally is, all right, so I'm going to bring the car carrier through. There's a hole that's been created. Oh, look, here comes Snowman. Oh, look.
It was filmed very close down here to me.
Well, I would, because they did a lot of stuff on the south side.
Yeah. Like 5 minutes from where I'm at.
Far out, because there actually is a website that actually has all of the shoot locations where I think it was downtown. I think it was downtown Fayetteville at the time, or that was supposed to be Texarkana, the old school. The old school run at the beginning of the movie is one. There is a website literally that has all of the shoot locations and said this is Texarkana and this is where this.
Because you have Fayetteville, you had McDonough. I want to say Griffin.
Yeah,
at some point, but yeah.
So
not to take you off topic. I'm sorry, but every time I hear that movie, I'm like, hey, that's close to me.
Where are what day is it, sir?
Wall Pass Wednesday.
Correct. So no, this should not be a surprise for you.
I may have inadvertently ended up on a couple of the Walking Dead sets in my past as well.
That's another thing. I sit there and it's like, I understand it. I know people dig it. I've never gone down that road. So you look at Philadelphia, it's a road trip. Zombie Union are now north of the playoff bar. What's your early thoughts getting ready for this one here in the midweek?
This was never going to be a match that you were going to have fun playing because it's Philadelphia.
Well, it's never fun playing it. No,
regardless of whether or not they were at the bottom of the standings and struggling in the beginning, they figured it out. Got 9 goals in 2 games. There's something to be said about that. And Super Park is never a great place for Atlanta, if we're being honest. And hindsight being 2020, it would have been nice to have these past 3 matches go your way, because these past 3 matches were winnable matches. So you're now continuing to fight an uphill battle. This one's tough, but like I said, the rest of the schedule is not out of reach for Atlanta. And if they go up there and they play a consistent performance like they did near the second half of the Red Bulls game, then you can frustrate Philly a little bit, and you can probably find some success. Yes, and that was part of what we discussed on MLS Monday. Union schedule sucks after Atlanta. It really sucks. And you just have to hope that you can go in. This is one where I'm like, all right, cool. A point might be okay, but you can't settle for anything less than 3 because you don't have that leeway. It's going to be a knockdown, drag out type of game. Like I wrote it on the website after this past match. Like a lot can be said back and forth, and opinions are abound about Atlanta this year.
Yeah.
But one thing you cannot argue is that this team does not lay their bodies on the line. Pedro Amador still wearing, an eye patch basically for what happened in Nashville.
I'm still livid about that.
Yeah, that's wild.
Sam Surridge, like I said, for me, the Sam Surridge, this should not be a Darren McCarty, Claude Lemieux situation. That's your Google search and YouTube search for today, kids. Think Red Wings and Avalanche from the 90s.
Exactly. That's the thing. Stian Gregerson getting twice in the past 3 matches, getting like clawed and punched in the face. Jamal Tiare, that dude, somebody said in our Discord that he plays like he's renting his body.
Yeah, he does.
And it's true. Yeah. I mean, he lays it out there, and you're going to have to do that in Philly because that's the way that they play. They're going to piss you off. We know this about
yes,
Philly.
we know this. Yes.
They're going to piss you off. And I think at this point in the season, you have to let your emotions kind of fly a little bit. I'm not saying go out there and just start swinging haymakers, but you kind of have to show them a little bit of attitude back, or they're going to run all over you. And so go and and it's similar to the Red Bulls. Don't play into their hand, play their game, and play it better than they're playing it, right? And I know that's much easier said than done, but you have to go up there and frustrate them to where they start making mistakes, and you can find some success.
See? There you go. Game plan's all squared away.
Yeah, it's that simple.
Yeah, exactly. So what's going on at SNS? You've got the Monday show. How is the Monday show, by the way?
It was fun. It's really fun. You know, we've been doing the Monday thing, but trying to add in some other takes and things from around the league, just kind of going over a 30,000 foot view, as you would say.
Yes.
But no, it was good. It was a good time. We'll be doing it every Monday, even after the season. Well, I say after the season, depending on what happens with Atlanta in the season.
News don't stop just because your local team season might be over.
Exactly. So we'll still be talking about all of it. Tonight we'll be having Ross Smith on for a little bit. He'll be coming on. We'll have the show at 7. He'll be coming on at 8. And we'll be talking, I'm sure, Patrick Vieira, Philly, Daniel Gazdag, you know.
So you're going to get Ross to talk a little Tony Husband smack while you're at it? Get Tony Husband dirt?
Trying to get him to poke a little bit.
Yeah.
Poke and prod.
Absolutely.
Always.
Find out, get some intel on Tony Husband in the booth. By the way, and this is like the old Saturday Night Live sketch, hey, did you know that we're up for an FCA award?
Yes. Congratulations, by the way. I was going to come in and like drop that. Congratulations.
We were shocked.
I think that's amazing. That's really, it was funny. I actually saw it. So we had 2 birthdays this weekend. We had Stella turned 2, and
Stella,
turned 13. We were at the Coke factory, on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
What's it? Yeah, Monday.
Sure.
And when I saw this pop up, and I was in the shortly after drinking the famed Beverly. If anybody else has ever had Beverly,
there you go,
and knows what I'm talking about.
Uh-huh.
I had the disgust on my face still because it's even though you know about it, you have to drink it when you go there. Yeah. And I saw this on Twitter because I hadn't been on Twitter much that day, obviously, and I was like, "Hey, look at that! That's freaking amazing! I'm so happy for y'all."
We got the ish shocked out of us. It's like you look at the other 9 and then you go, one of these things is not like the other.
But it's it's kudos to what you guys are doing. And we've talked about it. I mean, you know, y'all, I think talking to Jason, he said, you know, my vision for this would be to almost essentially be like an ESPN type network where there's constantly some kind of coverage going on. And I think that's phenomenal. And, you know, we've worked together, all of us, with doing articles and doing shows. And I just think it's, you know, y'all have been a platform for the past few years that has done nothing but good things for sports, obviously soccer mostly, but sports in general in Georgia. And I think it's great. And the surrounding area, because God knows Jason never stops driving or flying somewhere. So, and you too.
Well, we're all insane basically. And that's,
which is okay.
Maddie will go to Chattanooga. Jason will go to Chattanooga. You know, we'll go to Mercer to cover, you know, to be a part of that broadcast. But the stories that we do with all the other programming, whether it's League One or Championship, and bringing in guests and bringing in folks from all around the planet. And but literally, it's like, hey, by the way, did you know that we're up for an FCA? And we're getting emails. So are you coming to the thing? And this is like literally the award ceremony is the Thursday. It's a week before Thanksgiving.
Yeah. At Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
At Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, where tickets are like $250 to $400 a pop. You know,
I saw that. Oh, like dang! And then they won't even give y'all tickets.
Yeah, well, but then the thing is that we're a finalist, but maybe if we're a finalist, like, you know, if we make it past October 13th and we're like one of the top 3, then we can think about it. It's not something where we can sit there and drop all of our ish and go, yeah, we're going. You know, we can drop airfare for 6 and go to London. I mean, it's but no, it is freakish. It is stunning. It is a bunch of different adjectives, but maybe after October 13th, after we put stuffed the ballot box, and thank you guys for helping us out with that.
Absolutely.
Maybe if we're a finalist, then if we're like a top 3, then we'll go. Just to kind of sit there and say, hey, look, it's Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Yeah. And the boss has already figured it out, by the way. She is like, okay, well, then what we do is you've got a high school football game on Friday night. So we leave Saturday morning. She would be missing the Auburn, Louisiana Monroe game. And she goes, that might be our only other win. So it's not missing much on my part. So we'd fly out Saturday, be there for the week, do the morning show from London, and be there for the awards on Thursday night local time, and then fly back early morning AM Friday, get me back in town for Football Fridays on the following Friday night.
Best of luck to you.
Well, but I mean, it's like you gain 6 hours, and that's like the length of the flight. So it's like a 7 or 8 hour flight. So I'm only losing 2 hours if I get an early morning flight out of London on Friday morning. Then I'm back here late morning, early afternoon. The only show that I don't do that week is the Friday morning flight, unless I do it from the plane. So anyway,
there's a little bit of logistical concerns with that. So
I could see the flight attendant coming down. Excuse me, Mr. Nelson, what are you doing? I'm busy. I'm doing a show.
I'm live right now. Say hello.
I'm live. You turn everything around, and it's like, hey, here's a monitor. I'm on a Delta flight. It's a packed Delta flight. Hey, everybody, you're live. One of those kind of things. But
no, it's well deserved. I'm super happy for y'all. I saw that, and I was like, dang, that's freaking amazing. Again, while my face was disgusted with Beverly. But
you don't do that.
No.
All right, as always, my friend, it's great to catch up with you. Great to see you on the middle of the week. And we know that SNS is busy tonight. You're busy on Monday nights. You're busy on Wednesday nights. Get all the Tony Husband intel that you can. We need good Tony Husband stories from Ross Smith tonight. Go enjoy your mug, and you can go to the Scarves in Spike's store. Get the lid, get the mug, get the stuff, and maybe you can have something akin to a Mandalorian mug with some SNS attached to it and violate as many copyrights as humanly possible.
Try to stay away from that part, but if I get as close as I can without going over the line.
Exactly. All right. Be good, brother. We'll see you soon.
See ya.
That's Tyler. Tyler putting up with our blatant promo of being, literally one of these things is not like the other.